My first memory of Alien is not actually watching the movie. It was actually kind of a featurette that showed some images of the movie. There's something about the look of the movie. Science fiction can get dated very fast. And Alien, because that's going to date it, is there any conscious decision you made it?
Well, I was never an extreme fan of science fiction way back when. And so the doors are always closed for me until one afternoon I decided to go and see Stanley Kubrick's 2001. A 70mm print, and I sat there devastated by his technique and the sets that were seen and thought through. So from that, I definitely copied a lot from Alien, for sure.
When I think about that script, and because it wasn't a big budget by any means, you know, if I imagine reading that script with the money that was at hand, I was like, you get to the end, they come out into the planet, and they see the derelict ship. You see it there, and you're like, what? You know, how do you imagine how we're gonna do this? It was always miniatures.
Well, the reason why is this: the model, given the money,
yeah.
God bless my production designer, Roger Christian, Les Dilly, the money for the set was terrible. The mountain range was this high, and I didn't have George Lucas's blow-by-blow, step-by-step Star Wars technology. So I looked at the room and tried smoke, and it looked terrible. So I said, can we get some of that portable 16mm camera, shooting 16, shot in 16, I put it through the TV set, and I filmed the TV set.
You filmed the TV set?
It worked in with the fact that Ash is watching on video. And so suddenly the whole thing had scale.
It makes it terrifying as well.
It's weird.
You feel like you're there, like that's the way people will see a spaceship like that for the first time.
You see through Ash's eyes first.
Let's get out of here.
It's not this far, we must go on.
And then you do something that is brilliant, that is like, I watched this movie a lot of times, let's put it that way. But it wasn't until I watched it for Alien Romulus that I realized, it was like, what's happened with the astronauts when they go, with the crew when they go inside the ship? They realized that you have fooled me, that you made it look bigger by having kids playing the crew.
My two kids made the set look twice as big. My two kids this side, you put them in a set.
It's bigger.
It's suddenly twice as big. See?
Amazing. Every monster, I think, you know, when it's a shark on Jaws, or you name it, it always taps into a primal fear that people don't even know that. There's something that people are terrified of specifically, that creature happens to represent. Did you ever thought hard about why did it work so well?
I'm going to hand this to Dan O'Bannon, because I was saying the script and dynamics are fantastic. It really is 7 people getting out of their little tin can in space. And they're getting out because you've got to have a beast. The beast had better be great, otherwise you've got a bad horror film. And O'Bannon was showing me the book Necronomicon by Giga. He said they don't want him, they think it's obscene. I said, obscene's good. So from that, I flicked to the book, and there he was. I said, this is it. I've never been so sure in all my life that this is it. I just kept doing that. So they said, okay, will Giga do it? I said, well, let's fly him. Giga would not fly. So I had to fly to Switzerland, and I found him living on a kind of pebble dash state housing. And inside was his universe. I went in there to find a very mild, lovely man, and I convinced him, you must do the movie, you must do the movie. And Jerry Goldsmith's score for Alien was incredible. Incredible. It's probably one of his best scores. It's so even disturbing today. He hits that note that is disturbing.
The delay flute?
The delay flute, C minor or something. Immediately, it's chilling. Whatever you're doing, it's chilling.
It's so clever about how you never really see the creature. It triggered my imagination in such a way because you weren't showing me what it was. You just see the chains. I remember thinking the chains was part of the monster. Because you see the sounds of the chains there.
Oh, Harry gets it,
Yeah, when Harry gets it, he looks up and you don't really see it. He's down there, he comes down behind him. Still a super vivid memory of watching that and understanding that some sort of, dark devil took this this guy, and I never knew what it was.
Yeah, I thought the creature was a large, giant, beautiful insect.
Yeah.
So the less you see him, the better. Yeah,
And I could only imagine on the face of the cat, the way the cat was just staring at it.
Yeah.
And that stayed with me forever.
The cat was great.
The cat was
So was
fantastic.
Harry.
Seems she has intercepted a transmission of unknown origin.
A transmission? Out here?
I was meeting Sigourney for the first time. Do you remember that?
Funny enough, I'm only 2 films in, but what I know, the most important thing you can do in any film you do is to find the very best cast you can. Script first, then cast. The rest follows. I couldn't quite come across the combination of the female character who felt that she should be a little bit athletic to be able to cope with what was going to happen during, and yet a good actress. And one day you got a call, I think, I'm certain, Warren Beatty said, there's a girl on Broadway, off Broadway, you should meet her. She's called Sigourney Weaver. I think that's how it happened.
Well, you know, I'm sure it was a whole experience for her, like because she had done just a small movie, and that's
I think it must have been scary for her. Yeah. But she embraced it so
She was
well.
surrounded by very seasoned, actors as well.
But the cast were also, there was no what I'd call, Scarrett was a bit of a star,
Yeah.
Tom. But because there's no dominant star, I think they all felt like a team. I think the cast were fantastic.
When Alien Romulus started to come about, we had a Zoom call. I remember telling people on the phone call, I was like, I've been doing this enough and met a lot of people enough that I don't really get nervous about, like, oh my God. And that was the first time in many years when I was really nervous. I was like, well, obviously you're a master of this craft. And for me, it's one of the best privileges ever to meet the masters, and mostly because I want to learn and I want to be better at what I do. And those are the few chances when you have that. And I remember, like, when I told you basically what the story was about, you could tell right away what worked and what didn't. What was going to be effective. And now looking back, I haven't made the movie. You were completely right. Like, you were like, this story, that's great. That's what the movie's about. That's what you should tap into. That was something that
I actually
always
said
stayed
you
with
got a
me
huge
forever.
movie here.
You work on these movies, and then it's all about the day you're finally going to share it with an audience, right? Do you remember, like, that night of being there, like showing to a crowd for the first time, not know how they're going to react to them? Do you have any memories of that?
At that moment in time, there had been 3 really good horror films: Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Omen, and The Exorcist. They were perfect engines of fear and terror, right? You're seeing things you hadn't seen before, or put under stress to see what you hadn't seen before. And the violent sections, it was so violent that the audience reacted. So the executive says, the film's too violent, I said, how can it be too violent? So I'm arguing, it can't be too violent. We're doing a horror movie.
But back then, why did they go back the next day, and make a massive hit?
I think it was the talk by what they call it, the water cooler the next day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much for this conversation, Sir Ridley. Is there anything you'd like to say to anyone watching?
No. Please sit back and enjoy the film.